Welcome to Open to Receive. I'm your host, Anael Ivon. Now, this podcast is a place where we'll explore receiving, familiarity, possibility, nervous system safety, prosperity, and what happens when we begin to recognize that who we are becoming may be more familiar than we ever imagined. Today, I'd like to begin with a simple idea that has been unfolding for me recently, and that's permission. More specifically, what happens when we give ourselves permission? Yesterday, I gave myself permission to prosper, be prosperous. Now, what surprised me wasn't what happened externally. What surprised me was realizing how confining it had been not to give myself permission. We often inherit ideas about money, success, spirituality, receiving, and also what is possible for us. Sometimes we don't realize we're living inside those assumptions. And let me ask, what have you not given yourself permission to experience? I ask myself that. What was it that I haven't given myself permission to experience, to live in my life? What does it feel like to allow it? Think about that. What does it feel like to think of something that you like that hasn't happened or that you may feel has been held back from you? Think about that. Now, think about what does it feel like to allow it, to actually give yourself permission to have that thing or the experience that you want. And for me, when I did give myself permission, it felt as though a gate opened. Not a gate outside of me, but a gate within me. The possibility may have already been there. Permission simply allowed me to notice it. And once the gate opens, then what? Then exploration begins. Then receiving begins. Then becoming begins. Now ask yourself, think about this. What permissions have you never consciously given yourself? I thought about that. I asked myself that in this process, when this awareness, when it became apparent that what I felt was being held from me or I was being held back from was permission to have it from the self, myself. And so, what permissions, that came up for me that I had never consciously given myself, just think about this. Permission to prosper, that was number one. To receive, permission to rest. Have you ever had those days when you're running around like crazy, or you have a really intense day at work, or you have issues with the kids, getting them from here to there, picking them up from school, or, helping them to get to where they need to go, or just a relationship that has been, just hanging on you, pressuring you, and you need a break from it. So have you, like, not given yourself permission in those situations to rest or to be visible? Have you not given yourself permission to succeed or permission to change? You don't have to be what somebody thinks you should be. You don't have to be what you were when you were growing up. You were told you were geared towards um, becoming. You don't have to be that. So, can you give what would it feel like to give yourself permission to find out what it is that you want to do? You probably already know that. Truly want to do that would make you smile all the time in your life. What would that feel like to give yourself permission to do that, to change, to be supported? And here's one that was really heavy for me, was to outgrow or let go of inherited beliefs. A lot of times we don't think about that, but it's been scientifically proven that we might inherit our mother or father's eye color, the shape of the eyes, my grandma's nose on my face, my great grandma's mouth, my walk from my aunt or my uncle, the way that I walk. We all know about those things, but there's also inherited beliefs. How about permission to release those, to outgrow those, to just allow them to fall by the wayside and create your own beliefs that support how you want to live, what you want to experience in your life? And then permission, along with all of this, to become who I've always been, to become who I've always been beyond what I think I am. And when you think about that, what happened with me was I became aware that who I am becoming feels deeply familiar. This felt less like becoming someone new and more like recognizing something already present within myself. People spend years trying to change their circumstances without ever examining the permissions they've granted themselves and those that they can grant themselves. When I gave the permission, I realized there's a calling forth of what is already within. You call it forth, to be, basically to surface. It's buried deep inside, but you don't know that unless you start giving yourself permission. And what if some of what we're seeking, you know, in life, what if it's already present and just waiting for permission? So, as you move through your day, I invite you to sit with one simple question. What would become possible if you gave yourself permission? So, do that and allow it. And I want to thank you for joining me for this first episode of Open to Receive. Until next time, next week, remain open to receive. If this conversation found you at just the right time, I invite you to subscribe so we can continue this journey together. You'll also find a link below to my free guide, Open to Receive, if you'd like to explore more deeply. Until next time, take good care of yourself and remain open to receive.